Thank you, and good morning, Chairman Whitfield, Ranking Member Rush, and members of the committee, for the opportunity to testify before you today. The challenges associated with coordination of natural gas and electric markets is particularly important from both the perspectives of electricity and natural gas users throughout the U.S. and from the perspectives of reliability and cost. So considering these issues now is both appropriate and very well timed. So let me summarize my view on coordination issues with just 5 key points. First, we shouldn't forget the benefits of improved coordination, and we should focus on it. As a former chairman of the Public Utility Commission in Massachusetts, at a time when natural gas prices were both very high and very volatile, I want to emphasize the consumer rationale for better coordination. The emergence of shale gas has dramatically lowered the cost of living and doing business across many states and has generated significant economic benefits. When considering coordination challenges, this should be front and center. We need to improve coordination because that will allow electric ratepayers to realize the benefits that our expanded domestic natural gas resource base represents. Adding new gas-fired generating capacity to a region can lower costs, expand use of a domestic fuel, provide environmental benefits, and facilitate the integration of variable renewable resources. Improving the stability and efficiency of electric gas market transactions must thus be viewed not as a challenge but as an opportunity. The second point I want to make is that power grids can be operated reliably with a significant reliance on natural gas, with a critical caveat that I'll mention in a minute. Heavy reliance on natural gas-fired generation does not, by definition, diminish the reliability of power grid operations. New and efficient gas-generating technologies can provide numerous reliability advantages. They are relatively easy to develop and site, can be built in various sizes and configurations, and can be located close to where electrical load is. They offer the ability for continuous operation, faster startup, and faster response to grid-operated dispatch instructions over many competing resource types. Finally, as our states seek to integrate vast amounts of renewable resources, gas-fired power plants offer the best physical operating characteristics for managing the variability associated with these sources. The third point I want to make is the critical caveat is that natural gas infrastructure must be sufficient to meet the coincident demands of heating, industrial processes, and electric generation at all times. In the time frame of short-run transactions between electric and natural gas markets, the prevailing profit motives of market participants are extremely effective at overcoming short-term supply and transportation issues, but they simply cannot overcome physical constraints on the flow of gas. In some regions, gas infrastructure is or will become increasingly constrained, particularly in the winter. Where pipeline and LNG infrastructure is sized primarily to meet winter heating demands, there is limited space on the region's pipelines to carry gas for electricity generation during cold winter conditions. Addressing this is the fundamental challenge of the coordination issues before us today. Fourth, given these circumstances, in regions with inadequate natural gas infrastructure, grid operators and regulators must focus on relieving these infrastructure constraints and, in the meantime, ensuring reliable operations in the face of constraints. Grid operators need to ensure that under adverse power system conditions, including constraints on the flow of gas for power generation, there is sufficient capacity to reliably operate the system. There are a number of tools operators can use to accomplish this, such as retaining non-gas units needed for reliability, requiring switching at units that have dual fuel capability, dispatching resources that otherwise might be uneconomic, calling on demand response resources, and activating operating procedures where necessary to avoid power disruptions. In addition, regulators and grid operators can take actions to relieve prevailing constraints in the longer term through regulatory orders and market structures that promote development of dual fuel capability, enhanced demand response, or investment in new natural gas transportation infrastructure where it's economic. Finally, in regions that currently have adequate natural gas infrastructure, operators and regulators must not let down their guard. Their decisions and actions are key to appropriately planning for avoiding such infrastructure constraints in the future. In short, regulators and grid operators play vital roles in advancing the coordination of natural gas and electric markets, in promoting the development of needed natural gas system infrastructure, and in managing the reliable operation of power systems in the face of gas supply constraints. Given the potential economic, reliability, and environmental benefits of expanded use of natural gas in the electric sector, the efforts of regulators and grid operators in this area should receive heightened attention and effort. So with that, again, I want to thank you and look forward to your questions.